Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I want to give a series that I truly didn't like another chance. A series that I felt had so much potential, characters that I connected with, and characters that I could relate to.
No, not this guy.
That series is My Hero Academia. To give a little bit of background, I feel like I've given this series a very good chance. I watched 3 seasons of it, and I would like to admit that there were moments that I was captivated, but it really didn't keep my interest. Deku wasn't a very interesting character to me, and all the side characters were massive, so it just felt like they were just a bunch of filler characters. There are 2 reasons that I wanted to give this series another chance. One is this video of a little girl getting a Todoroki figure.
And he has a birthmark like me.
He does.
So he matches me.
He matches you.
Also a video of a mom and her child in a cosplay. I mean, after seeing this, the series can't be all that bad. Like, look at the good that it's doing. I'm someone who believes a new perspective is always needed. So here, I'm going to go into season 1 of My Hero Academia with more optimistic and understanding perspective. And without wasting any more of your time, let's get started with episode 1. The first episode does a good job in setting up the world that the series is in, how quirks originated and how they are the norm, watching them display their different abilities and how heroes function in society. We are introduced to Deku, a character that is quirkless in a world that revolves around quirks. Right away you get an understanding of his character as someone who wants to be a hero and had that hero mentality, even at such a young age. Also, I just want to let everyone know, I won't be skipping this banger of an opening. Then we're introduced to Bakugo, a hot-headed character that I really didn't like on my first time watching, but again, I'm keeping an open mind. I do love hot-headed, selfish characters, but something about Bakugo was keeping me from really enjoying his character. Finding out that both Bakugo and Deku want to go to the same hero school was very nice and shows how optimistic Deku is, even if he is quirkless. Okay, but the part where baby Deku is watching All Might on a computer is just so precious. The spark in his eye to be just like his role model is just adorable. And then we get to see his dream shattered in the next scene. This really helps me understand how stubborn Deku is in his dream and everyone around him telling him to give up his dream and making it to UA. All Might saving Deku was a very cute scene that allowed our main character to meet his hero and ask him the question that he's held on to for so long. To ask the one person he would only accept the answer of that question. Can I be a hero without a quirk? All Might begin to change into skinny, fragile form, and it's kind of funny to see the design. We see Bakugo free the fluid villain that attacked Deku and lashes out at Bakugo. We get an explanation on why All Might had this skinny form, seeing that he got insanely injured in a past fight, getting to understand who All Might is and why he keeps pushing through. Someone who is the symbol of peace and always wears a smile, yet has the same fear as everyone else, holding on to all the weight of the world and to become the beacon of hope. But Deku gets his answer. All Might says he can't be a hero without a quirk and to be realistic. A needed conversation for Deku as a character, and it wasn't really mean at all for All Might to say because he was just being honest. It is dangerous to be a hero and he's just looking out for Deku. Then we go to the fluid villain, taking Bakugo as a hostage and wreaking havoc. Bakugo struggles to break free and all the heroes are unable to do anything to break him free. Even All Might might not be able to do anything in this situation because he has a time limit on how much he can transform each day, which just adds suspense to the situation. Deku arrives at the scene and starts to blame himself for the whole situation, distracting All Might, letting the villain loose, and putting everyone in danger. This scene really shows the similarities of Deku and All Might and how they think about others' safety above their own. Yet, both of them in this similar situation, who acts first? The hero with godlike powers or the quirkless loser who was told to give up on his dream? Deku has the mentality of a hero and his actions show it. Trying to save his friend the moment he realized who was trapped. Not knowing why or how or even if he can, he knows he has to do something, and that's the perfect embodiment of a hero. Using what he knows to his advantage, our little hero nerd charges in. Yet the whole scene is just amazing. I think the best part is the line Deku gives Bakugo, "You look like you were asking for help." It makes this scene just way more impactful, understanding that someone needs help rather than waiting to be asked for it. Someone who understands pain and helplessness, and he just wants to help. It's just an amazing scene. All Might comes in, saves both the boys. Bakugo catches up with Deku and proclaims that he didn't need Deku's help and he didn't save him. Just one more tough guy act. All Might shows up to bring Deku to tell him one thing that he's always wanted to hear. You can become a hero. All Might said Deku is worthy of inheriting his power, so the quirkless loser is going to be able to have the power of the hero he adores most, the power of One for All. They begin training a bit, and it's nice to see how close these characters are getting, and I get to understand them a little bit more. Deku is training by cleaning up trash on a beach, and it feels like a really cute way of cleaning and training all wrapped up in one little montage. Also incorporating All Might's 10-month plan in order to become the perfect vessel was a nice addition because it seemed like it was a life-changing task rather than just a physical one. There is one scene that I'd like to point out where Deku is mumbling to himself in class about his training and everyone kind of makes fun of him, except Bakugo, the one person that would jump on Deku the second he had a chance. Bakugo just seemed to be lost in his own world, but I really appreciated this scene. During his training, All Might notices that Deku is overworking himself and scolds him about it. Yet, Deku says he has to work harder than anyone else in order to catch up to everyone, and that includes All Might. We conclude with the beach cleaning in such a beautiful way, with our MC screaming on the top of his lungs after he cleaned up way more than he was told to. Now Deku is able to inherit the power of One for All and take the entrance exam. We find out that the entrance exam could be a mock battle with different enemies and have different points assigned to those enemies, ending with the episode with Deku hyping himself up to see if the month of training is gonna pay off. Everyone entered the test arena. All Might gave Deku a bit of a warning for his newfound power because he wasn't able to test out the powers at all. Seeing Deku scram around not getting any points was a good build up to all the other side characters who were doing well. The big moment of anticipation was the 0-point robot that was pretty much a flea on sight deal. Finally being released, we have Deku fearing for his life and freezing up again. Yet again, he shows us who he truly is. When someone is stuck under rubble, Deku springs into action without hesitation, destroying the massive robot, yet in the process breaks both his legs and his right arm, showing the side effects of not being a fully proper vessel. Falling to his almost death, only being saved by the one person he tried to save, and that slap was pretty funny though. Seeing everyone question Deku's quirk is pretty interesting when one person was able to see why he did that action, to disregard his own safety to help someone in need. Deku dealing with the results of the exam thinking that he had failed, having a weak path not knowing if he made it, but expecting not to due to the 0 point that he had gotten. Without being able to contact All Might, it must have been truly stressful. Finally, it arrives and it is adorable. Seeing someone wanting to give back to the person that saved her was just so heartwarming. Yet, I found it more adorable that there were hidden points given for rescuing. Seeing that Deku got so many points for his selfless act was a real good, reasonable payoff to his hard work. This allowed him to finally get into UA. We get to see the results of the test and see that Bakugo was able to get the top scoring results, but had nothing in rescue, while Deku on the other hand solely passed on his rescue point, further showing the contrast of these two characters and understanding their viewpoint on what it means to be a hero. And I do like the little high five All Might and Deku have. It's really quick and cute. I thought it'd be just fun to point out. I did enjoy that All Might wasn't one of the judges for the exam and Deku was able to pass on his own. All Might explained to Deku that he's going to need to control the power of One for All to match what his body is able to handle in order to not destroy his body after just one use. One thing I'd like to point out is the thing that Deku's mom said to him before he leaves for school. "You're very cool." Is something a fan would say to their favorite hero. I think it's sweet, and his mother must have known how impactful those words would have been for him. We are introduced to Ida, who is the typical scholar student. We get a flashback of Deku and Bakugo, where Bakugo confronts Deku, wondering how in the world he passed the exam, ruining the plan to be the only one from his middle school to make it to UA. There is a lot to unpack here, but the most important thing is Bakugo is skeptical of Deku since he's known him for so long to not have a quirk. We are introduced to the homeroom teacher, Aizawa, who starts off the day with a quirk assessment test. It's a very good way of allowing us to see the student's quirks and abilities. Deku just has to not come in last on all 8 of the tests, but he really can't use his quirk. And also, I hate this horny grape fucker, man. Anyways, Deku gets his quirk erased and is told that he can't be a hero the way he is using his quirk. Aizawa tells him, "You are useless if you can't move after one punch." Yet, he does get another chance to throw the ball. This is where I find Deku to be a great character. He learns quickly and applies what he's told right away, using One For All in just his fingertip to not lose his entire arm, and then looking back at Aizawa and tell him, I can still move. Then again, we have those words, "You're so cool," from none other than All Might himself. Everyone finishes the test and sees their score. Fortunately, no one could be expelled. Bakugo is super enraged, and it just annoys me how upset he is with Deku. I guess there might be a reasonable explanation, but I think it's completely over the top. Personally, I think it's overplayed, but again, I need to hold off on having the same opinion that I had during my first watch. On a more positive note, I do love that Deku accepts the name Deku from the Gravity Girl because he thinks it's cute. Look at him blush. The next day we start the combat test and they get to wear all their custom design costumes, which I found very cute that they were able to give themselves their own identity. Deku's mom is actually the real MVP here, helping Deku with his costume. I love that Deku was wearing his mother's costume even though he had the opportunity to get a fully customizable costume. It's just so cute and heartwarming. Now the basic training begins here, where the students have to go up against each other, one side villains, one side heroes. Unfortunately, Deku has to go up against Bakugo in the first match. Yet again, Bakugo is pissed that Deku has a quirk, but from my understanding at this point is feeling lied to or tricked, which is weird to be so angry to the point of bloodlust though. The test begins and Bakugo starts off with an attack, but holy shit, Deku doesn't allow that to phase him at all. With his own strength, he flips Bakugo, and it's really nice to see that the data that Deku was collecting isn't going to waste here. It's being applied. I didn't want the quirk to overshadow who he was before. Seeing him gush over heroes is still a nice touch to keep him true to the character he was, always. At the end of this episode, Bakugo just keeps listing off reasons why he hates Deku, and again, because this is where I think it's overplayed. 3 times this episode, there's just so much hate for Deku. I know we learn possibly about it later, but we had a few flashbacks already, and from my understanding, this hate is still unreasonable to me. Like, why does he hate him? Is it because he's weak? He lied about his quirk? He feels like he's looking down on him? Like, I just can't find it. Like, I can't find the intensity behind the hate. I can understand not liking him, but hating him this much at this point just truly throws me out. We get a flashback of Deku and Bakugo as kids, and my god, do they draw the kids so cute? Like, look at them! Bakugo still refuses to work as a team and keeps pressing the attack. Deku using his brain to show that he has a good understanding what to do in these situations. Again, this is a good way to show that all the stuff that he's learned prior to getting a quirk is taking an effect and being used really well here. Bakugo is just raging and yelling and still pissed that Deku might have been lying to him about being quirkless. I mean, holy shit, dude. What did Deku do? Did Bakugo come home to the sound of clapping one day and just see Deku fucking his mom? Or did Deku just put a nuke in his family van? Like, what could warrant such a bloodlusted reaction? We do get another flashback of the two, and yet Deku is just trying to be a friend while Bakugo is just hating and making Deku look terrible for not having a quirk. Then he tries to assist him, and it's the equivalent of being slapped in the face, apparently. Okay. I'll stop the rant now. Okay, actually, maybe one more quick note. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're actually trying to kill him? Okay. I'm done for now. The fight keeps going, and it looks like Bakugo has a little bit of a brain here, getting his revenge toss. That was a sweet seal to the combo of his. But this is where it gets more heated. I love that Deku becomes selfish in his goals. Not only does he want to be a hero, he wants to surpass someone that he thinks is great. He wants to beat Bakugo. The improvised plan was such a good way to end this fight. It shows the goals of the two, one to crush everyone to look good, and one to achieve the goal of being a hero. The start of the episode makes me believe that Bakugo is going to reflect on his loss and improve on it, not being just a crazy psycho. They go over the result and start letting other teams go and showing off their powers. I really like the process of this, allowing us to see all the abilities of the student. It's a quick way of seeing how creative and adaptable their quirks are with a little bit of personality. I still hate this guy. I do like to see that the understanding of All Might condition is known amongst the UA staff, knowing that he can only have this form for so long, and only a few people know the truth of One For All. I do enjoy seeing that Nerf Girl scolding All Might due to Deku's injuries. I just think it's a nice little touch. Seeing that the students start to praise Deku and introduce themselves to him is just sweet and a great change from his middle school days of being the punching bag. Yet again, Deku, being the selfless person that he is, starts to think about Bakugo, explaining things to him even though he shouldn't have to. But here is the exact point where I start to like Bakugo's character. It is one thing to be a sore loser, but to actually listen and see things from a new perspective is development. He understood the criticism of his actions in the training and felt like since he lost, he can see himself losing to others. This breaks all the viewpoints he currently has about himself. He thinks that he's unbeatable and that everyone is just a stepping stone. Finally, outside of this echo chamber, he wakes up to the reality that he's truly living in. His over-the-top reaction really doesn't bother me here due to me understanding his character a little bit more at this point. The scene is just a great crash out and the voice acting is great as well. He takes this loss and from here where he failed, he creates a true starting point for himself. I love that All Might attempts to help here, but it's even better that it's a self-recovery. So New Station, they're trying to get information out of the kids about All Might, and it's kind of annoying. Yet I do like that the premise is being brought up again because popularity does help Hiro get paid more. Deku's homeroom teacher giving him reassurance that he has the potential to find control over his quirk, which is very nice. Yet right after this, they have to elect a class representative, and it looks like everyone wants to be elected. Also, what the fuck is this little pervert asking for? 30 centimeters above the knee for girls' skirts? Put that man in jail. Deku and Momo get elected as representatives. Ida's statement for not voting for himself was very impactful to understand his character. Wanting to do it and being suitable for it are two different issues. Understanding that not every problem can be solved just because you want to. Someone else might be a better fit for that situation. From the first episode, we were able to see that some heroes help fight the villains, others stop fires, and others protect civilians. Ida tells us that he wants to be just like his brother. Also, there's a security level 3 breach and everyone starts to panic. So we know that it's just the media trespassing, but I think this episode highlights Ida's learning on how to handle a situation, even if it wasn't a true emergency at the time. Similar to how he was in the entrance exam, he learned and adapted, growing from his past mistakes, and it gets better. Deku using Ida's logical thinking to make him class representative was a nice full circle move. Deku knowing that Ida wants the role and he has shown that he's capable of it. But in Deku's words exactly, I think it would be best for Ida to do it. Then everyone agreeing is just so cute and a nice little wrap up to that little scenario. We see All Might losing a little bit of his powers and reflecting on Deku telling Bakugo about his powers, seeing the huge risk if the secret is gotten out. The little banter on the bus on the way to rescue training is just so much fun to watch, giving more time for the character to have a little bit more personality. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't notice this on my first watch, but 13 is just so cute, man. Look at the little space suit, man. Well, it cut short because the villains start to invade the training grounds. The League of Villains begin their assault and it's up to 13 and Aizawa to keep the kids safe. Aizawa does a great job in fighting the group of villains and it's really nice to see a good amount of action from a pro hero. They begin to get separated by warping power from one of the villains, each having their own encounter with villains elsewhere. I just wanted to state, I still hate this grape guy. Like, everything that comes out of his mouth is a perverted joke. The analysis of their situation is really good though. They conclude that they wouldn't be trying this hard unless they have a way to kill All Might. And plus, if they did, if they're a threat to All Might, they are way far past the students' abilities. I enjoyed the little montage of everyone having their encounters. Again, it gives more personality to the side characters and shows their abilities. Okay, but the principal is fucking cute, right? Like, what do you mean you don't know what kind of animal you are? All I know is he's a cutie, and look at how he climbs up on the couch. As his first task as class rep, Ida has to run and get help. Even though he thinks it's disgraceful, they need help in order to fight all these villains. When Sue's explaining her power, all I can think about is how cool it was that they adapted a frog quirk in the world this way. Then you got the Grape Loser again being perverted and ruining my immersion. The Grape Loser explains his powers, and I think it's really interesting. It's just on a perverted character. They're attacked and this guy just folds under pressure, just throwing balls into the water. He panics again, then just making reasonable points, you know, like, gonna die, he's too young, etc. But the boob touching comment, it just seems so like off. Like, just for 1 second, can we just be serious? Deku finally springs into action towards the villains in the water, sacrificing his thumb and middle finger to give them an opening of escape. The Grape Guy did capitalize on the opening Deku gave him, and I think it was a good way of grouping them all together and keep them immobilized. Sue said that they're both amazing. I'd say that Deku's amazing and Grape Guy's kinda alright. After escaping is on to the next plan. What do they do now? Todoroki handling a bunch of villains on his own, but starts looking into the situation. What is their plan and why did they have just so many random thug villains? Shows that Todoroki is in a class of his own, not just in his power but in his intellect, and also showing that he has cruelty as well, which is a lot of depth to the character. When we see the other teams in action, it's really nice, but why did we have to see Momo like this? Like, man, he's a child. We get back to Aizawa fighting and starting to get a little worn down, and it seems like the big bad has an understanding of how his powers work and begin his attack. It looks like his elbow is decaying. I really don't remember what this guy's power is. I don't know. Anyways, Aizawa is struggling and getting closer to his limit, and then our big bad bird comes in and just starts beating him down. 13 has their quirk turned on them, and Ida has to move to get some help. Now there are 2 teacher heroes that are technically out of commission and they'll need someone soon. Nomu is the name of the bioengineered creature that just fucked up Aizawa. That screech is horrifying, man, reminding me of like a deranged velociraptor. With the help of the group that didn't get warped, Ida is able to get out and attempt to find some help. Aizawa is still just completely overpowered, and Deku is just watching this all. What I think I enjoyed most about this is the sudden timing of all this going down, and the little bit of hope that was given to us when everyone that was split up was doing well. Just to have an overwhelmingly powerful enemy decommission their best current hope. We have a serious moment where the villains are seeming like they're gonna leave due to the possibility of heroes coming to assist the children, yet it's ruined by this grape fucker. Man, it is like so misplaced and I dare say not needed at all. Aizawa in his current situation saves the crew watching from the decaying villain, which forces Deku to act right away, throwing a punch that didn't break his arm, yet was blocked by Nomu, who has his sights on Deku. In the last minute, All Might arrives, here to save the day, and this episode really put the characters in a scary situation, but a lot of characters shine in their thinking and their execution of their plans. This intro for All Might is wonderful because we get a little bit of a new perspective of him, seeing the raw emotion on his face filled with anger and worry, finally showing up and realizing that there's been so much that has been done. All Might has no time to waste, so we obviously know that he has a time limit in the form, so he just gets to work. Moving fast, getting the kids to safe position, All Might begins to fight Nomu, and seeing that his punches have no effect due to his shock absorption. Yet, it isn't a fair fight with the warping ability. All Might is being trapped in a position where his weak points are being targeted. Deku charges in really without thinking, but this allowed for a moment that I think mirrors the first episode in the opening, but it showed the insane amount of growth for Bakugo. Bakugo charges in and is capable of stopping Deku from being warped, showing that he's learning from his mistakes or is just using his head in general. Then everyone starts assisting, just a great moment to start wrapping up this season. A side note, I fucking love Metal and Rock, so right at this moment the theme track starts playing. It's just so clean and hype as fuck. Poor 13, look at them. Bakugo is definitely the MVP of this encounter. Nomu frees themselves and launches themselves at Bakugo, having even All Might scared of its speed. All Might save Bakugo and takes the hit, but the quote from the villain stating right now is really interesting to me. Gives me a pain from Naruto type of vibe. Violence for the sake of others makes it admirable. While looking into this statement, it is seen as true not just in the series. Violence, no matter how you spin it, is still violence. Hurting someone is hurting someone even if they deserve it. This is probably an insight on why villains hate heroes. Hiding behind a hero's title but doing harm is an abuse of power that should be stopped. Let's continue because shit is about to fucking go down. The symbol of peace is about to get a piece of Nomu's ass. Dude is getting so many fucking Gurren Lagann vibes here, just keeping statements that probably sound really stupid on paper but in the moment are legitimately the most amazing things you've ever heard. All Might is giving more than 100%, which is impossible, but my god, do I just fucking love anime. Enjoy the hype, feel it, live in it. You hear that? You say run is playing? That must mean we're going beyond. We must be going We have the battle wrapping up and it seems like there was information leaked about All Might getting weaker. So who is the person giving out that information? I think it might be a rat in the school, but it's not the principal. I think I must have forgotten because I had watched this many years ago. Anyways, All Might is bluffing here, and it's actually really interesting. It just shows how close Nomu was to actually being the end of him, how much weaker he's gotten, but the symbol of peace needs to do everything he has to have such confidence and have a smile on his face. They call him bluff and they charge him. All Might can't move or his transformation will be undone. He'll be in his weakened state. So our boy Deku breaks both his legs to jump in for All Might, but it isn't good enough. Luckily, the heroes arrive in time to help. Ida coming back with the heroes, which is so hype, feeling the sense of security. Shigaraki getting glocked here is just so fucking funny to me. The battle ends and the exchanging of work with Deku and All Might solidified that they saved each other, and it was a nice ending to the grave battle that was underwent. I do love that they tried their best to hide All Might's secret. It feels like a joke, gag kind of thing, but I can really get behind. The villains retreat and they see that we're talking to someone about the failure of the plan. Everyone checks in with each other, which is really cute to just see them talking. Aizawa seems to be in the worst condition, seeming like his recovery might take a while and lead to lasting issues. Nomu is found, and I guess he's in a vegetable state because he has no master to command him. All Might explained that he might have shortened the time span he can be in his form, and I love that he is still concerned for his student and peers, even though all those thoughts are filling his mind. Seeing how the students reacted to the dire situation gives hope that all the students will become great, strong heroes. The episode ends with my favorite character that I can remember, Stain, being teased, and I can't wait to rewatch that. Well, after all of that, what do I think of My Hero Season 1? It's a great start to the series and the world building's pretty great. I would like to start off with the things I didn't enjoy. I'll get the easy one out of the way, and I don't like this grape loser, man. I am someone who feels like there's a place for everything. Jokes don't need to be placed everywhere to keep my attention. If anything, it's distracting if the joke doesn't go the way that you want, and even worse if the joke isn't funny at all. I'm not here to white knight women, but perverted characters need to stay in the past. It isn't funny as people really think it is. You may say, oh, what this is meant for teenage boys because it's shonen. I've been reading and watching this kind of stuff for years. I don't find it funny then, and I still don't find it funny now. It's something that I hope we grow out of soon. Next, I think the introduction of too many characters at once. Don't get me wrong, I felt like a lot of characters that were introduced were very enjoyable. It was just there was a notable amount that I didn't really know much of. I swear there was a few characters, I don't even know what their powers are. It wasn't a huge issue for me. I just feel like there was a way to allow characters to be introduced without them all coming in at once and waiting for their moment. Smaller classes or smaller roster of the cat can always help flesh out the main ones when it is optimal or needed. New characters can always be introduced, but maybe have a solid reasoning for them to be introduced. Finally, this point may change in due time, but for now is Bakugo's rage against Deku. And let me make it clear first, Bakugo is a great fucking character, and I found this rewatching and I misunderstood his character and oversimplified it down to a hot-headed dumbass, which is a huge disservice to his character. Yet, even though I can see all this, I can't justify his anger to Deku. Like, how is this a reasonable response that I can get behind? I don't always agree with certain characters' responses, but I do need to have an understanding on how they got to there at a certain point so I at least have something to go off of. And no matter how I look at the rage, I can only understand why he would be upset. You know, maybe being lied to for so long. For example, Pain. I understand why he's doing what he's doing, but I don't agree with him killing everybody. For Bakugo, I can't understand the bloodlust. It is one thing if it was all just an act, but he legitimately tried to kill Deku. Maybe down the line I'll understand, but as of right now, it is just way over the top for me to even take seriously. Now let's end on a high note. The things that I loved about the series. 3 characters really stood out to me: Deku, Bakugo, and All Might. I'll give an honorable mention though to Deku's mom. She is a single mom in a world of heroes, and you know what? She's the true hero here. She did everything she could to help Deku and was crushed when her little boy couldn't get a quirk and just lost out on his dream. And when he finally gets it back, she's excited, making him feel so good about himself. And also, who can forget that costume? Deku's mom is the #1 hero for me. Now with Deku, I really enjoyed his character throughout the season, showing the mentality of a hero without even having the power to back it up. And yet when he does get those powers, he doesn't get a big head because of it. He's still the same person he was without them. Most importantly, he learned and adapted very quickly. With the baseball test, he understood what Aizawa was trying to tell him and applied it. Not to mention his work ethic. My man is pushing himself so hard because he sees himself so behind everyone else who had years to master the quirk and use it. The beach cleaning episode was really fun and wonderful way of showing Deku's over-accomplishment mentality and the way to push himself even further. Deku always does his best to help even if it doesn't go out the way he planned, and I love seeing this character grow. All Might is a shining beacon in this world and is a great character as well. He is what I believe Gojo is to the world of JJK, an overpowered character that people rely too much on. With them out of the equation, the power scales tip in the favor of the enemy. All Might and Deku's relationship is really cute. Seeing how they're always in awe at each other when they do something, it's just adorable. The spark in Deku's eyes as he sees how much of the world is weighing on All Might's shoulders. Then you have All Might looking at Deku, realizing that he isn't just a good successor, but he's a good person. It's a dynamic that bounces off each other a lot, reminding them of what it means to be a hero time and time again. Yet I do love that even though All Might is a high-ranking hero, he still helps with the little things. Seeing he always goes to whatever call he gets is just really touching. Nothing is below him. Finally, we have Bakugo. You might think I don't like him due to my previous statement, but I am starting to think he is one of the most interesting characters introduced so far. The moment that caught me off guard was when his whole world shattered around him, feeling that everything he had known was nothing that was compared to the real world. It would have taken a normal character maybe a good amount of time to process all of this and find himself, but yet Bakugo doesn't do that, and I applaud him for finally leaving the echo chamber and seeing himself compared to others. He put himself at his lowest point that he currently is in, making a starting point and pushing from there, and he does that all by himself. I'm not sure about his support system, but it seemed like he's a lone type of character, so to see him process all that and grow from it in such a short amount of time is incredible. It shows a great sense of maturity and growth that he's undergone, and I will say it again, he did this alone, and I can't imagine how hard that must have been. Yet he comes out of it with a new goal and charges into that new goal the same way he does anything, head fucking first. My last thoughts for the season are the introduction was great, the selected few characters really stood out, the animation was very good, and I found myself entertained throughout the entire watch, even at the slower episodes. With all that being said, thank you for making it to the end of the video. Please feel free to let me know what you thought of the first season of My Hero Academia. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I would love to have a discussion with you all in the comments below. As always, keep it respectful and constructive. Thank you again for watching. I've been your bestest bro, and I'll see you when I see ya. Another video in the books. Time to work on another script.
Are you forgetting something?
Oh, hey Radio. I just finished a video. I'm about to start on another script.
I said, are you forgetting something?
Oh, you're talking about promoting the fan animation of Naruto vs. Ichigo by overworking our animator Omar until he can't use his hands anymore?
Wait, what did he just say?
Exactly. We should let your viewers know.
Until I can't use my hands anymore?
Yeah, of course. Take it away, Radio.
Become a patron today to help us finish the very anticipated Naruto vs. Ichigo fan animation. There are a variety of tiers to choose from, ranging from $2, and if you're feeling really generous, $2,500. Different perks of being a Patreon are Discord access, live streams, daily updates if Omar remembers to post it, and much more. Come and be a part of this amazing community. Thank you for all of your support.